Hello. Welcome back to Rewriting Reality. I am your host, Shiraz, a reality interventionist. What is that? Well, you might find out during this show. So, I just had a wonderful weekend in Phoenix at something called Mastermind to Millions. I got to spend a lot of time with with me included, three-quarters of the manifestation squad. You've already met them if you've been paying attention. We had Jackie Cote start off the year in January. We had Catherine O'Leary, who was here in February and who's actually hanging around the same hotel room as me right now, puttering around in the background. And the last member, of course, is Monique McDonald. And she is going to be joining us as soon as I press a button. And there she is, the magnetic voice mentor. Hey, Monique, how's it
Hey,
going?
Shiraz, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Now, the funny thing about this particular show is that Monique was here like 12 hours ago, got on a plane so that she could be there to interview, to get interviewed, which I'm like, next time stay. We'll just do it in the same hotel room.
Agreed. It was a long trip, but I'm here.
All right. How was the flight?
Oh, it was really great. In fact, I usually hate the middle seat, but I was seated next to this gentleman who was a lawyer, and we had an amazing. He was a lawyer who was taking voice lessons
Of course.
because he wanted to write songs and play his guitar to handle the stress of his life. So it was perfect.
Oh my God. See, this is why it's called the manifestation squad.
That's right.
Because we were also amused that Monique during this weekend, uh, during the adventures, just disappeared for a while and realized she had gone off to the bar to hang out with all these seven-figure business people and eight-figure. Apparently, I'm getting the eight-figure up signal because apparently that's what we do with these things.
Apparently, that's what we do. And it was so lovely because I really just, we're sitting for these conferences for so long. I just knew, like, my body told me, okay, it's time to go take a walk. And I was actually going to go outside to the pool, and I had to cross through the bar. And I met this wonderful woman called Kat Merritt. And she waved me over and introduced me to all these very cool eight-figure business owners who are just, we think of them as elevated or somehow more than we are. And it was great to just, have a drink, have a laugh, and realize that, you know, they go to the bathroom as well as we do.
How did I'm curious to ask how you realize that they go to the bathroom as well
Well, because each that we were drinking, so
as
each one of them got up to use the facilities.
oh, okay.
No, but you know what I mean. We do. We sort of put them up on a pedestal because they've been so successful in business, and it was really lovely to just be in their energy and see that they're just like us, only they made decisions and had access to people who helped them go faster. So that was one of the biggest takeaways that I had from this weekend was when you when you have access to proximity to these successful people, whether it's business or whatever is your field of expertise, your energy levels as well, right?
Mhm.
And 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 I was with the manifestation squad and we had a blast.
Woo! All right. All right. So, Monique, magnetic voice mentor. I think we want to know exactly what the hell that is. Well, I don't, I know. But the people that have never met you want to know what that is. And how did you get to become the magnetic voice mentor?
Well, this was this was a name that was sort of given to me because whenever I sang, people were drawn to me. And when I help other entrepreneurs and authors and whoever I help them uncover their natural magnetism, their natural voice, so that people are drawn to them, so that they sound like the expert that they are, so that they are fully aligned, their voice to their message, to their heart, so that when they speak, whether it's one to one or one to many, that alignment causes a natural charisma. Everyone always tells me, well, you're born with it. We call it the X factor, or, you know, uh, that thing that makes you just hang on a person's every word and you can't wait to hear what they say next, right? A lot of people believe that that charisma is born. You're born with it. And I believe the same, but I believe everyone is born with it. And our stories dim that magnetism. We turn it down so that because it was dangerous to be loud and proud, and right in our life history taught us that it was dangerous to be seen. So I help people
Mhm.
learn how to prime their energy so that they can be seen and heard, how to walk into a room and own it even before they say a word. So that's that natural stage presence. And then I help them own their voice so that when they speak, they attract their natural, beautiful, fantastic audience.
All right. Now, I assume that because you do this and you talk about people being born with it, this is just who you've been your whole life, just inspiring people. You've always known your value.
No, that's not true. But it is true. I would have to say a tiny bit it's true, because when I was a little girl, I understood very quickly that when I sang, people smiled.
Hmm.
And so my grandmother always used to say she was such a happy baby. She would go to anybody, not like her cousin who wouldn't go to anybody,
Ooh.
which wasn't so nice for my cousin. I'm an only child, so she couldn't say, one of my siblings. But and so when I understood that, it was a natural thing for me to do because I was praised for it. However, my mother was the great singer in the family. So I decided that I was going to go off to France and learn how to speak French and work at the UN, because I had, that musical ear, which also is a great ear for language, because I thought my mom was amazing. And into my ear, her voice was much more beautiful than mine was.
Ooh.
And so, but when I was a little girl, like I was 7 or 8, she invited me to a concert because she couldn't find a babysitter at Columbia University, the chapel at Columbia, and here in New York City, and it had this huge dome, and she was singing, and I sort of ran away from whoever was watching me, and I went up to the top balcony and this sound was vibrating, through the dome and through the room, and my little 7-year-old body had no idea what was happening. I felt this vibration going through my whole being, and I looked down, and my mother had become this creature of light, and it was one of my earliest memories of the power of the human voice, and how it literally vibrates the world, at least my world at that time.
Wow.
And when we really understand that, um, it's literal and it's figurative, right? It
Hmm.
only takes one voice to start an avalanche, to start a huge movement, someone who's strong enough and brave enough to stand apart from the crowd and speak their truth. So the journey was this for me. I did everything in my power not to sing, but went to France to study language and was discovered. And I went to work at the American Cathedral and did Trial by Jury by Gilbert and Sullivan. And I started to draw a following.
Mhm.
And I said, no, I'm going back home to study with the best voice teacher I know, which is my mom. And cut to years later, and I got accepted into Juilliard. I made my Carnegie Hall debut. I became a Grammy-nominated, award-winning singer, and I sang all over the world, including Japan and all of Europe and even Canada.
Even Canada, and you didn't
Even
visit me when you were in Canada, so I'm kind of upset about that.
Canada. And my mom was with me every step of the way, right?
Mhm.
Have you ever had a mentor that sort of walked with you through every step of your process and believed in yourself even when you didn't?
No,
You didn't?
no,
You
that would
didn't?
make me sad.
I'm sorry.
I want to see if this emoji actually shows up, or it's just no. That was the emoji that went up on YouTube, and that's how it's being interpreted from what you were saying. So,
Yeah.
big heart shape. Someone loves you. The marriage
Oh, Burnt. Hello, my friend.
burnt. Is that
Burnt.
okay? You know
Yes.
burnt?
Yes, I believe we have met.
Okay.
He came for the free gift that I'm going to be sharing with your people today.
Oh, cool.
So,
All
but more about that later. Well, that person who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself and was with me every step of the way was my mother.
right. Nice.
And about 6 years ago, she passed away from pancreatic cancer, and it was really quick. It was 6 months from diagnosis to death, and I was devastated because she was my best friend. She was my magnetic voice mentor, and my everything. I was an only. Well, am I still an only child? If all my parents are dead, yes, I think so. And it was a very difficult time, and I'm still working my way back to who am I without her. I'm
Mhm.
sure anybody who's had loss like that understands what I mean by that. But one day I was it was a bad day, and I didn't even get out of bed, and I was flipping through Netflix, as you know, like we do, and Tony Robbins' documentary "I'm Not Your Guru"
Mhm.
came on, and I started watching, and his voice was in shreds, and it was really, really hard for him to. He does these big, these big events where he's on stage for 18 hours, and so he was doing vocal exercises to make it to help his vocal cords, and I thought to myself, look, it's good information, but I'm an opera singer. I sing in theaters of 1,000 seats or more with an orchestra of 50 to 100 pieces with no microphone.
Mhm.
So I know how the voice works. And then it occurred to me, what if I got to the next Tony Robbins or the next person with a big message
Mhm.
before they start touring like crazy and
Mhm.
doing these, long events, and teach them how to take care of their instrument, the most underestimated tool in their toolbox, and showed them how to take care of it and how to speak according to the laws of nature so they don't have to push on their instrument in order to be heard. And
So wait a second. Speak according to the laws of nature. But
mhm.
shouldn't we automatically be speaking according to the laws of nature, saying, is that you just aren't you just born speaking according to the laws of nature?
Oh my God, thank you for that question. Yes, we are born speaking according to the laws of nature, but then life happens. And our voice is a reflection of our life experiences. Most people don't realize that. And when we make meaning of whatever occurred in our life, we make decisions that affect our voice. For example, if we feel that we're not being heard, we will push our voices so we are heard, so that because we believe we're not being heard
Mm.
because our voice isn't loud enough. So we put pressure on it in order to be heard, right?
Okay.
Or if whenever we spoke up, we were slapped or shut down or sent to our room, we will speak like this so we aren't imposing on anyone. And there are reasons for that. And so after we've made that decision unconsciously, of course, and we pull back on our voice for whatever reason, or we push on our voice for
Mhm.
whatever reason, the habit is created, and that habit creates imbalances in our instrument. And so then we are no longer speaking according to the laws of nature.
Wow. Okay. I see now. Because I've often talked about how when two people are yelling at each other, most of the time it's not because they feel the need to yell, it's because they feel they're not being heard. And
Yes.
rather than getting their point across more succinctly, they just raise their voice.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I just had a potential client come to me again through this free gift I'm going to give you. And he was a lovely gentleman, and he was in sales. And all day long he was making sales calls. And when he came to me for the voice of power assessment, we well, I heard in his instrument that he was not speaking according to the laws of nature, and was putting a lot of unnecessary air into his voice. So he was sort of talking like this. And what I know about the voice is if you do that for long enough, you can create a nodule, which is kind of like a callus on your vocal cord.
Mhm.
And so the vocal cords don't approximate correctly. And that causes that sound in the voice. And if it goes too long, you'll have to have surgery in order to have it removed, which is very dangerous because your vocal cords are the consistency of your eyelid.
Mm.
It's that fragile, that paper thin.
Mhm.
And so if you get one of those calluses on it, um, if you don't catch it in time and correct the imbalance, it can cause a nodule on the vocal cord that will need to be removed. So I didn't want to scare the guy, right?
You remove my vocal cords? What? What's happening now?
Well, no, it's not the vocal cord, but the nodule will have to be removed
Okay.
surgically, and they use lasers now, and it's dangerous surgery.
Mhm.
And in fact, Julie Andrews had the surgery and never sang again.
Oh.
Um, so I just sort of diagnosed him, which is sort of the idea here is to assess his voice. And I said, and I started working with him, and I said, are you aware that you're sort of backing away from your voice, that it's not as strong and powerful as it could be? For example, and I gave him an example, I gave him an exercise, and he did it, and he said, wow, yeah, I really do see why. I see what you mean. And I said, is there any reason, is there any belief or any idea in your mind that may have caused you to do that? And I told him what I just told you. And
Mm.
he said, well, the only thing I can think of is I don't want to come across as pushy as a
Mm.
salesman. I don't want to be overpowering. So he made, because that was his intention, he backed away from his voice and made it more breathy, not to intimidate. And after years and years and years of doing that, and when he's speaking all day long, That's what happened.
Wow.
Right?
Okay. So wait. You made him do some exercise.
Hmm.
Can we do that exercise?
Yes, we
Okay.
can. Yay!
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm set.
All right. Okay, awesome. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want you to say mame mi momu.
Mame me momu.
Very good. Now just notice the ratio of breath to voice. If you had to give it a number between 0 and 100, what's the ratio? So, how much voice
Mhm.
versus breath? Because you could have said, Ma me mi mo moo. Or you
Oh,
could have said, Ma me mi mo moo. Right? Did you
oh,
see how I changed the
yeah.
ratio?
Mame me momu. I would say 60 voice, 40
Yeah,
breath.
that's right. So it's pretty balanced. And which is the 60? Voice?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the voice is to lead and the breath is to support.
Okay.
Okay. Our breath is what brings our voice into the world, which is why breathing is the first thing we do. Whether you're a singer or speaker and you come to my studio, that's the first thing we learn how to do is breathe, that belly breathing. Well, that's your way of living because of what you do, right? You
Mhm.
live in that open expansion in your body and your breath because of your work. So I don't have to teach you how to do that. But sometimes the
Mhm.
ratios are off for you, Shiraz. Have you noticed that? That sometimes it's more breath than voice?
Do you think I'm paying attention to this?
Oh
You've
my
probably
God,
noticed
I love
it.
that you said that because most people are not aware of this,
Okay.
right?
But again, I didn't know I'm supposed to be aware of this.
That's right. And it's like most things as far as awareness goes. We
Mhm.
don't know what we don't know.
Mhm.
And that's I think one of my greatest missions for people who use their voice for their business, for communicating with their children, for their identity in the world. Um, it tells a secret that we're not aware of when we're speaking. If the ratios are off and your voice is more breath than sound, it can appear as though you're weak or that you're uncertain to the listener. And then,
Mhm.
of course, they make meaning of that,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So,
So wait, I want to ask you another question
yes, yes,
before you
yes,
move into
yes.
something else. So are we trying to keep our voices 50-50 voice to breath, or do we move it up when we're trying to make a point and bring it back if we're trying to support people? Are we supposed to be okay? You're nodding.
Well, no, here's the thing.
Okay.
There is, I love that question because whenever we as human beings try to manipulate nature,
Mhm.
it doesn't go well.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's what happens, right? We try to manipulate it, but there is a natural sort of when we are, if someone is suffering and we want to convey compassion,
Mhm.
we say, oh, and it's a
Mhm.
natural sort of take the power out of it, surround them with love or with that energy, right? And then the voice just does that because it's our intention. But when we do it consciously, we will tend to overdo it,
Okay.
right? Okay. So what I help my clients do is do it consciously away from the situation. So if you're practicing your signature talk with me and we're
Mhm.
coming to your call to action and I'm noticing you start to talk like this because you're terrified to ask for money,
Okay.
or comes into it because you're nervous and anxious, right? And which puts the brakes on the flow.
Mhm.
Then apart from that moment, we'll do exercises like we're talking about doing, I'll bring your awareness to it and bring you back to flow.
Okay.
And then the voice will naturally and work on the thought, right, in the way that I do, which is a little different than the way you do.
That's a little.
And
Ooh.
then the voice will naturally come back to flow. And the idea here is to practice that away with consciousness. Say, notice the imbalance and practice the balance away from the moment, and trust that your voice will respond accordingly.
Okay. Cool.
So,
All right.
mame mi momu.
Mame mi momu.
And did you feel that when you went Did you
Yeah.
notice that? See if you can do the all the way through.
Mommy me momu. Ooh, I can't say maybe. Mame mi momu.
Yes. Now you gave a little push to moo that you don't need. Mame mi momu.
Mame mi momu.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So you have a naturally lower voice.
I do.
You
Oh.
do. And and because of the way the we've talked about this before, the way that your work affects your coughing and the way you breathe and yawning and everything,
Mhm.
um there's a tiny pulling away from that natural robust sound of your voice.
Mhm.
And so what I would love for you is to have all the fullness of that whenever you need it,
Okay.
and be able to have the fullness but not fill it completely all the time, because I don't want you to talk like that either, right?
I definitely don't want you to talk like that. What the hell is that?
Yeah. So again, it's the ratio. So you have the extreme of that full robust sound,
Mhm.
and you have the other end of the extreme of a smaller, more gentle sound without collapsing it, so that the ratios are still the same. It's just um, not as loud and more tender. And so it hasn't collapsed, right? In order to, a lot of times, to make the adjustments, we collapse our natural support or the breath that's supporting our body. And now we've gone down the rabbit hole
Okay.
because I could talk about this forever.
Oh, I get that. And I just want to say, if you can, if you're able to, because I know some people are watching but not logged in, if you can put a yes in the chat if you've been saying "mommy may moo" while you've been watching.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
So, because I know if I was watching it, I wasn't participating, I'd be checking and saying it over and over. And over.
Well, that's so funny because when I appear on when I'm asked to be a speaker in someone's 3-day event or summit, or, and the people are there on Zoom and I get to work with them, I have them do toning, which I'd love you to do if you're willing.
Oh yeah, I'd love to be toned.
Love to be toned. Okay, so here's the thing. Everybody says I can't sing, or the people that are afraid of singing, right? The people who love singing, they don't say that.
Even the people that can't sing, that
But
love.
the people who, yeah, the people who think they can't sing or have been told that
They
they can't sing, um, won't sing for you, especially if you're me.
Mhm.
They're afraid that I'm going to judge them or
Oh yeah, because
criticize them.
singing in front of award-winning Grammy-nominated singer is not intimidating at
I
all.
mean, I don't know why. So I teach them about toning, which is one of the most ancient healing arts. And so it's not really singing, it's toning. And
Okay.
it goes like this. You choose a vowel, and each vowel you choose has different meanings and different the body responds in different ways to the vowels and the vibration. So if you choose now you.
See, now I'm scared.
Don't be scared. I'm right with you, holding your hand.
Okay. Is that exact tone, that
You
same
get
note?
to do whatever tone you want.
Uh,
Very good.
okay.
That was hot.
Ooh,
Okay.
I'm hot.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Now just notice the silence. Do that one again.
Ooh.
Very good. Oh.
Oh. I noticed quivering in your voice there.
That's why. That's right. And do you know why?
Why?
Because there was a little push. A
Okay.
little push. You weren't sure which pitch was going to come out,
Hmm.
which note, which tone was going to come out. So your body went, is it that? And literally, is it that? And that was what caused that. So
Okay.
now you know which one it is. Do it again and let it slide out of you.
Oh.
Very good.
Okay.
E.
No.
Go down. Go down.
Yep.
E. I can't hit that one, but you can.
E.
There you go. There you go.
E.
Again. And let it slip in.
E.
Yes.
E.
Okay. Now really go for it. Lean into it and then watch it go. Watch it go.
E.
Very good. So now, guess what?
What? We do it
You
all.
get to tell your friends
I was coached by.
you sang with a Grammy-nominated, award-winning opera singer.
Thank
Congratulations!
you. Thank you. I'll take my award now. Oh, you shouldn't have. Thank you. I will treasure it. I'd like to thank my parents for this special moment.
Shiraz, you have a really beautiful voice.
Thank you. So do you, but we all knew that.
So, did you feel the vibration?
Yep.
And what did you notice in your body as you felt the vibration?
I felt when I was really in tune, my body vibrated.
Yeah. And what happened when you weren't in tune?
It was either I don't know what it's sort of ragged, right? Or I could hear like with those, like when you said I didn't know which note, I could hear the unsureness going on there.
So, that's what happens to speakers as well. When they're not sure what they're going to say or how they should say it, or if people will like what they're saying,
Hmm.
that ragged, but it's not as obvious, right? Because it's not elongated.
Because you're not holding a note, so it's coming out of your stomach.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. However, it's enough that the listener, they won't know, they won't be able to identify it,
Hmm.
but they will feel the waver. They will feel the uncertainty and it'll make them feel a certain way. Some won't notice at all. There are some people that are so visually oriented, they won't notice. They'll be watching you, which is why it's prepared to be seen and heard.
Mhm.
because stage presence is the most underestimated thing that most people, again, feel that they're born with. That you either have it or you don't. And again, I agree. You're born with it.
Hmm.
Oh, Bernd, you're welcome. That's, by the way, a great warm up before you're going to speak.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, right, it warms up your voice and your breath.
Hmm.
And it vibrates you, so it grounds you. So my favorite, I love him so much. My favorite 13th century poet and philosopher, Rumi, has a quote that says, "There's a voice that doesn't use words. Listen."
Hmm.
What does that mean to you?
There's a voice that doesn't need words. Listen. It sounds like there's no words, so it's the music, it's the tones. You're just listening to that.
And the energy behind the music and the words.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are the things that I help people really get into alignment.
Hmm.
Right? Because our thoughts create how our energy moves in the world. Right?
Absolutely.
I bet you would agree with me.
I would agree with that. I know a little bit about that.
And if our energy is vibrating in the world in a certain way, and then we voice something that is not in alignment with that, there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And as my darling Shiraz is famous for saying, "See, that's not coming up true for me."
I may have said that once or twice.
And you and I don't know. I mean, I don't know your process. I suspect it may have something to do with what we're discussing here.
Hmm.
But you're so sensitive and you're so tuned and in tune with your own vibrations and your own energy that it disturbs you. You actually say ouch sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
So that's what I help people with. Help them with the limiting thoughts. That what are you thinking? What is going on in your mind? You're about to step onto a stage and grab the mic. What are you thinking? Most of the time I get, I don't know, or I'm not thinking anything. I'm worried about tripping and falling.
Okay.
And so that's what they're thinking when they walk up to the mic. So how do you think their voice is affected? How do you think their stage presence is affected if that's the thought they're holding?
It's going to have an impact.
It's going to have an impact, and not the one we want. Yeah, so that's what I get to do. And I got to tell you,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you the truth about this. When I first started this work, I didn't know if I'd like it, right? Because I'm used to being front of house. I'm used to being the light on the stage. And I didn't know if I would like working with others and uplifting others in this way and empowering people through this. And I'm here to tell you that I love it just as much, if not more, a little bit, because I'm one voice. And when I work with other voices, they say things because of their different expertise that I can't say in a way I can't say it.
Yeah.
So when I empower them to use these tools to say what their expertise is to help and assist humankind with their expertise, all of a sudden I get to help direct this energy.
Nice.
Yeah. And so it's that ripple effect when chuck the stone in the river. Yeah, I was one that threw the stone, but that beautiful thing that happens afterwards
Mhm.
is I just get to watch. And it's my favorite thing when the speaker really, because you feel connected on the inside in a different way when all of these things
Yeah.
are aligned. You feel your certainty. You feel that energy moving through you because your instrument is clear. And so that that activates your passion for whatever it is that you're speaking about. And there it's a thing that happens on their face. And we can all recognize it because those are the speakers that had the greatest impact on our lives, whether it was, our third grade teacher or whether it was Martin Luther King. They all had that alignment. So I am filled with gratitude to be able to be here with you, Shiraz, and to speak to your tribe and share this.
Well, I am so grateful you are here to share things with my tribe. Because just going back to our weekend together, there was a point where Jay Facette, who was running it, said he just wanted to take you home with him. And
Oh,
and and this is the thing about having Monique as your vocal mentor, because it's like you get to take her home with you. Because I mean, and he didn't mean he wanted to take her home with him, so like so they could be. It was to have her, to have that knowledge, to have that voice, to have all of that available is just a treat. And you should have seen when he said that, how many people were like, "Oh hell yes, I want to take Monique home with me too." So yeah, so working with her, that's what you get. And I'm happy because I get to work with her on a regular basis. I get a lot of Monique in my life, and she's actually in my mastermind along with the rest of the manifestation squad.
that's right.
Yeah. So
And we had our first meeting. And if you all are thinking about doing this, I really want to highly recommend it because it's there, we all are working on our business, and that becomes our mind is engaged and we forget about our energy. And usually, as it is when you're trying to do something new, you get all screwed up and tight and break up the flow. So then to have a Shiraz right there with you to help handle whatever reality you're coming up with, whatever thought is limiting thought is coming up, it's like calibrating as you go, as you're opening yourself up to new ideas and brainstorming new possibilities for your business and how it can go, or your life or your relationship, whatever you're working on. And then to have him right there when I think I said to you one day, I feel funny in my tummy, I don't know what's happening.
but the thing is, it's because it's a mastermind, it's not just you've got a Shiraz. When you need help from a Monique perspective, Monique's there. When you need help from a Catherine perspective on on getting ideal clients, getting your message right, getting attracting the right people, you've got Catherine. When you are talking about freedom, if you're talking about stepping up in your life, you've got Jackie. If you're talking about, and now we've got new things like with Amy, if you're looking at
That's right.
style, how you're showing up, you've got Amy. And so each new member contributes to the mastermind to help every other member, and that's what I love about the group.
Yeah.
So I know you are grateful for me. I am so grateful for you as well.
Mm, thank you.
Now, for the sake of time, we have 15 minutes left, and this is always an exchange. So You have coached me. It is now time for me to coach you. Even though you get coached on a regular basis, you're on my show, you get more coaching. So we need some energetic magic on Monique right now.
Yay!
And so, for the people that have never seen this happen before, I'm going to talk to Monique about an issue where she feels stuck in her life, something she wants to change, or something where she wants to go to the next level that she hasn't done yet. It doesn't have to be about stuckness, it could be about expansion. And when I talk to her, I can tell when her conscious beliefs match her unconscious beliefs. Whenever they don't, I'm going to say, as she said earlier, that's not coming up true. So when we find out there's a lie in there, I going to help find out what the underlying story is that's causing the lie. When I do, I'm going to say, Monique, are you willing to step out of that story? If she says yes and she means it, it's going to shift in that moment. Now, here's the cool thing. If you were watching, whether it's live or the replay, if I come up with the story and you go, oh my God, I've got that same story, then when she says yes, you can say yes. It's going to shift for you too. Now, the weird part is when the shifts occur, I tend to yawn and cough. So be prepared for that for the next few minutes. Other than that, we're ready to go. Monique, what are we doing?
Well, I'll tell you, Shiraz, being in that energy this weekend, I really blossom and bloom. In fact, I remember you coming over to me and whispering in my ear, now remember you're hopped up on what? Dopamine. So be careful. I really appreciate that, by the way. Um, and I would like to talk about this idea that I have that because I'm home alone, I live alone, that I cannot stay in that energy or that I can't continue that energy.
So you need other people in order to stay in that high vibration energy.
Well, that's the story, right?
That's the story. It's definitely a story because you're like a naturally high vibration person. So you wouldn't have a room full of people going, I want to take Monique home if you weren't a high vibration person.
But and isn't that interesting because oh, I had moments where
Yeah.
I mean that I felt like I might combust. And it was fantastic. It wasn't like a scary, oh my God, I'm gonna blow up. It was like, holy crap, how much more of this amazing energy can I take and what will happen? Like,
Okay.
right? And so yeah, I feel like I think you're right that I am naturally like that, but there are moments where I get so in my head
Yeah.
that I forget.
Okay. So what happens to a lot of people is, and this is why you had that, well, how much more of this energy can I take? It's because you've decided you're a limited container, right?
Mm.
And you're expecting that container to just burst at any time. But really, there is no limitation. That limitation is just your beliefs. And instead of trying to think how much more it's compressing, it's like, what else can I put in here before I reach that point? When you realize, oh, well, why don't I just let it all flow and just let more and more energy come through? Then there's never that how much, it's more like, ooh, how much more can we add? Right?
Yes.
What else is possible? So, are you willing to step out of the story that there's only so much energy that you can contain?
Yes.
Are you willing to step out of the story that you have to grow in small steps as a person and in your business to make sure everything is safe? How? Okay.
I want to say yes.
I know, I could feel that. But there's all this resistance. What's so bad about expanding quickly, powerfully?
Well, what's coming up is I haven't earned it.
Okay. Who taught you have to earn everything you receive?
Like the pilgrims? No. This idea, and yes, I was noticing this being in the room with these really amazing heart-centered, exactly what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Heart-centered entrepreneurs that are have an eight-figure business, right?
Yeah.
Two things go on. First, oh my god, they're so nice, right? I don't know why we expect them to be assholes. Oh, sorry, probably can't say that on.
Oh, you can swear on this.
Oh, okay. But we have this expectation that if somebody is successful in business, and I think I suspect that may be why some of us push it away. But also I realized that in my head, since I've only started to my business 3 years ago, um, as opposed to being an opera singer, which I worked on for 20 years,
Yep.
over 20 years, that I haven't earned it. Like,
Okay.
and that's the story. As I'm
Story.
discussing this, I'm
Yeah.
saying I'm seeing the story.
There's two things. There's two things that are coming up. Number one, that what you just said. But number two, because you surprised that they're so nice, you have a belief that rich, successful people aren't nice. So you're going to make sure you don't become rich and successful because then you'll stop being nice.
No, 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 no. We're stepping out of that story today.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to make sure you don't become rich and successful because then you'll stop being nice?
Yes.
Ooh.
That was really good. And you know what I was thinking?
What?
I was thinking because my manifestation squad won't let me become a bitch.
That's true.
And there
So,
is something too about growing together.
yep.
Do you know that?
So, but here's the thing: if you're, it's wonderful to grow together, but if you're going to hold yourself back because the people you decided to grow with aren't growing quickly enough, that's just hurting you.
Oh my God.
Okay. Actually, no, it's not just hurting you, it's hurting everyone. Because you growing faster now gives them inspiration and incentive to grow faster. But if you're holding yourself back, then everyone stays back. Ah,
That's a thing. That's a thing. And I've had it since I was little.
okay.
And I thank you because I've never really been able to articulate that I'm getting a sensation in my body. And that's it.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to hold back so you only grow as quickly as the people around you?
Yes.
Because I want you to grow as quickly as possible because then I can put you in my higher end programs.
Oh, I love that. I would love that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, is growing quickly dangerous?
No,
That's not coming up true.
I don't think it's dangerous,
It,
but I'm coming back to what will people think?
okay.
Can I think I'm having a memory. I remember when I was at Juilliard and I was having this kind of magical day where I was at rehearsal at New York City Opera at Lincoln Center, auditioning for a huge competition that I actually won, and so it was a day of success after success after success,
Mhm.
and even though I won the competition, they didn't give me the prize because they decided that I didn't need it because I had a veritable marketing machine behind me, which of course I didn't. I just was showing up in my big like energy. And so exactly what I teach people, right? And
Yeah.
so things were and you teach people. So things were like, it was magic. It was like, and I had newly arrived on the scene.
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe I'm still carrying that.
Okay. So, okay. So first thing, if you succeed too quickly, will people try to take things away from you?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of the story that that's what's going to happen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And more generally, are you willing to step out of the story that you have to make sure that everyone thinks the right things about you?
Yes, I am really, really ready to step out. That's exhausting. Yes.
Okay. So that's the thing. You want to care about people, but you just don't want to care what they think of you.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool. How you feeling, Monique?
Like I'm gonna combust.
Woo!
And it's all good. This was great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being on my show. And you've been hinting at some sort of free gift.
Yes. 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 And I'm gonna drop it in the chat.
Okay. And I will
Do you
put it
see
in
it?
the show notes later on as well.
I
Yep.
don't know if the people here can see it. Should I
They
put
will
it in the
once.
comments as
Okay.
well?
I was going to just do that right now.
Okay, perfect. So this is this this is one of my favorite gifts, and it's also the one that my coach is telling me I shouldn't do anymore. Because it's live in person, and normally these gifts are supposed to be downloadables, right? So that they're not taking up time, they're just bringing people into your world. But I love doing it. So it's all about, does your voice match your expertise and the person you really are? Does your voice reflect what you believe? And is your voice and your presence as powerful as they can be? But also, are you too forceful? Are you too powerful, too loud, too big? Because you're trying to force people into seeing you, right? So it's, again, it's this balance. And because most people don't realize that their voice is a reflection of what they think,
Mhm.
and that it can betray their insecurities through these imbalances, I get to give
Say hi.
this assessment, and we actually get to talk about it, and really I get to meet them, I get to meet you, I get to talk to you, and I get to let you know how powerful you really are, so you don't have to manipulate your voice. And I know you're doing it unconsciously,
Mm.
but let it reflect the magnificence that you really are. And I
Aw,
get to meet you, and it is a gift. It's not a sales call. I just want everybody to know that.
thank you.
Oh, and there's Catherine. Hey.
Just jumping in on my show. I just like that. Okay. So that is the gift. It is in the chat. It'll be on the show notes if you come in later or if you're watching this later. And it's a gift. She is going to work with you. It is live. I don't think in person physically. It's
No,
on Zoom.
not personally. Live virtually. Yes.
Okay.
Live on Zoom.
Okay. And it's free from Monique. So thank you, Monique.
Thank you, Shiraz. And I'm one of your biggest fans.
Aw,
I love you and hate you at the same time for
I know
making
you.
me step out of my stories.
But the next time I see you, I'll bite you. So
Yes. Oh my God. It's so weird, y'all, when this darling man comes up and bites me on the shoulder. I haven't figured it out, but I'm going to say it's kind of like a puppy. And I think he might like me.
all right. Now, other than your link, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, please go to themagneticvoice.com
Mhm.
and you can sign yourself up for I'm feeling very very generous this month. So if you think that I might be somebody you might want to create an affiliate or partner with in your business, there's a link for that.
Ooh.
Just go to appointments. There's not the voice of power assessment though. That's special just for you. There's also an inner voice healing session, which
Ooh.
is a brand new thing that I've started doing, which is so powerful and where we really work on reclaiming those moments where we shut down and lost our ability to express ourselves. And I've been real it's been having a big huge effect on people. So I want to share this work. It's another side of my work,
Mm.
that supports my voice work. And so it's called conscious transformational coaching. And so that's I'm giving sample sessions of those as way as well. So go to themagneticvoice.com. I'd love to meet you and remind you how magnificent you are and that your voice can vibrate the world.
Ooh, I love it. All right. Thank you so much, Monique. We are done for yet another month. Next month is a new speaker, and I have no idea who because I don't think I've scheduled anyone yet. What's going to happen? I've got like 8 people waiting to get in. I haven't scheduled anyone yet. So, but now you've met the entire manifestation squad. If you want to hang out with us more, just let me know. I'll tell you places we're going to be and things we're going to be doing together. And just being in that energy causes manifestation.
Yes.
All right, we are heading out. Everyone, have an amazing time. Be well, be aware, be magical. Bye bye.